Alright, we don't need that anymore. Alright, so before we start practicing on our whiteboard, you can just push that to the side. We're not doing anything on that right now. This is just kind of more of a mental math. We're going to discuss this for a second. I know that we have not actually done these this year, but I know that you're familiar with them a little bit, and you know that whatever is here is the whole thing, and these are parts of the whole. Okay? That's neat so they can see behind you. Okay, so whatever these two things are together make up this, right? Okay, so we have 3/3, or let me start over. 3/3 is the whole. Okay, we have 2/3. So what would be missing?
1.
All right. So if you're having trouble picturing that, okay, 3/3 is the whole. Maybe it's just easier to leave it on. These are not easy to move if they're small. All right. So let's slide these over here. Okay. If you have 3/3, can you see that? Okay. Let me separate them just a little bit so you can tell where the division line is, because I know sometimes from farther away it's not easy to see. Go. Messy looking pizza.
No, it's just the pizza.
It's like the pan drops and we just have a mess now.
Yeah.
Okay. So if this was the whole thing, okay, and we have this much of it, which part is missing? How much is missing? Yeah. 1/3. Okay. So with that 1/3, 2/3 becomes 3/3, or 1 whole. Just remember, any fraction that has the same number in the numerator and the denominator is equal to 1 whole. Okay. All right. So if that's the case, then if we have 6/6 as our whole, and we have 1/6, what piece is missing? Yeah. 5/6. Okay. All right. If we have 8/8 as our whole, that would be the messy one, of course. Now I gotta fix my mess. You ever do that? You ever make a mess with something and you're like, oh, let's just be faster, just keep it, and then all of a sudden, whatever comes next makes you have to clean up that mess. Anyway, so 8/8 makes 1 whole. If we only have 3 of them, you know, what part is missing? Okay, what part is missing? Yeah.
5/8.
Yeah, 5/8 is what's missing. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. All right. Now, I don't know if you realize this, but what you've just been doing is been adding fractions with a like denominator. Okay. When you add fractions, the denominator, and this is coming much later, but I'm just going to throw it out there. When we add fractions, because y'all said that this would be 5/8 right here, and it would be. So we know that 3/8 plus 5/8 equals 8/8. But notice that every single one of those fractions has an 8 as a denominator. Okay? When your denominator is the same, adding, subtracting fractions, no problem. It's when they're different. You've got to first get them to where they're the same, and then you can do the adding and subtracting. And so we'll see a lot of that later on. I just thought we'd throw that out there. But you have been adding fractions already, okay? Let's jump to, well, I'm going to go back to our target just to read it for a second. I have it on the board over there, but it says, I can build and write fractions greater than one whole. And you know what? I'm going to have to pause. I'm glad I'm still here at the beginning. I want us to jump over. Welcome. Welcome to my throwaway party. Here we go. Thank you. Thank you very much. I will probably have to be doing this all week. All year. Anyway.
What are you doing for the rest of your life?
Okay, so let's get really warmed up with, I don't know why I don't like the skinny marker. I just don't. It drives me crazy.
Miss Cherry doesn't use skinny.
She doesn't? Okay. All right, let's try that one. Okay, you are going to need your board and marker now. Okay, I just, right now, want to keep us current with this, keep us remembering this.
You know what my mom did to me last night? She made me do some, but there was 3 digits on top. But I told her we're not doing 3 digits.
But you could do it. I bet you could figure it out.
I could not. I kind of listen to everybody, but I'm glad you're on here. Alright, so let's jump in here and check your work, and if you're still working on it, check what you've got so far, and we'll keep working on it. Yeah. Okay, I'm just gonna ask everybody. Okay. All right, so everybody, 4 times 5 is 20.
20.
Yes.
20. All right. All right, so if it feels strange to put a 0 now on the top row, don't let it if the number needs a 0. All right, 4 times 5 is 20. Carry that 2. Okay. 4 times 8.
32.
32. Okay. Plus 2 more.
34.
So your top row is 340. Did see that as a lot of people's top row. Okay. All right, so we're done with that 4. We're going to put the dinosaur egg. Okay. So now we're ready to multiply with the 3 to each of the top places. 3 times 5?
15.
15. Put the 5.
I wrote down wrong.
And we're carrying what?
1.
A 1.
And it's gonna
So, okay. 3 times 8 is 24 plus 1 more. 25.
Yay.
Okay. There's your second row.
I copied down the wrong.
Okay, but you caught. Do you know that is so common? I copied down the wrong number, or copied down the wrong. When I went to stack it up vertically, I wrote the wrong number. It happens a lot. All right, so we're adding these up. 2,890 is our final answer. Okay. Just because you said that, Martin, I'm gonna do this real quick. let's say.
Oh no, don't tell me.
No, just watch.
Let's
Let's say we have 852 times 34.
Can I do it?
Okay. If you want to do it on your own and check your work, but I'm fixing to do it fast. I'm fixing to do it fast. Okay. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 5 is 20. Carry that 2. 4 times 4 times 8 is 32. 33, 34. Okay. I still had the, you still can draw that, but you've got to remember that dinosaur egg. You've got to remember that 0. Now we're ready for the 3. The 3 each number on the bottom just goes to each number on the top. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 5 is 15. 3 times 8 is 24, 25. I think I did that right.
Yes.
I get to talking and lose my place.
I got 28,968.
And you got it right.
You got it.
Okay. All we did, if that scares you because it's bigger,
We just added digits.
all we did is that those digits on the bottom go to one more digit.
It's still easy.
Okay.
Can we do one problem? Could we try that?
No, not right now. But I can start throwing those in every now and then and letting you do it. And that's a great idea because all that's doing is stretching you just a little bit further. Okay. Even if you're getting stretched a little farther than what you have to be this year, you're ahead of the game. Okay. So let's do this. Now, I hope you're immediately seeing a fact family and not looking at this and thinking, a 9, this is going to take me forever. This is actually a lot faster. I mean, don't say it out loud. How many 9s did I get on 72? That's a fact family. Okay. And we need to know those fact families. Okay. How many 9s can we get out of just 72? That is a fact family that needs to kind of, you need to be able to recognize that. Bailey? 8, because 7 times, I'm sorry, saw the 7. 9 times 8 is 72. So I'm going to bring that here and subtract that part of the number and bring down the 2. Now, we're not jumping into, hey, that's a remainder. Not yet. We've still got to go through the steps because we brought down a number. We know 9 times 8 is 72, so it can't be 722. 8 can't be like our final quotient. Can I get a 9 out of 2? No. I can get 0 9s out of 2. 9 times 0 is 0. And once I subtract that and there's nothing to bring down, now I'm ready to call that my remainder. Okay? So 80 remainder 2. And to check it, we would do 80 times 9. Okay, we know that pretty easy, don't we? 8. Well, if we did it this way, 9 times 0 is 0, 9 times 8 is 72. Plus the 2 for the remainder. There it is. Okay. Alright, so again, seeing this one more time. Alright, let's go back to where we were. Alright, if you would put the top on your marker and push all of that to the corner out of your hands just so it's not distracting you. Good. Alright, so moving back to fractions. So we've been doing a little back and forth today. That's okay. I can build and write fractions greater than 1 whole. Okay? Now, we have said up until now, you know, fractions are like parts of a whole number. Okay? I wrote it with a little more information here. Build and write fractions greater than 1 using unit fractions. Okay? We will be using unit fractions. What are unit fractions? Remind us of that because we need to get to know that. Yeah. Always has a 1 on top. Okay. What do we call that top number? Starts with an N. Numerator. Okay, so unit fractions always going to have a 1 as a numerator. Okay. And then it could have any number as the bottom, couldn't it? As the denominator. But we're going to be building and writing fractions greater than 1 whole. Okay? Greater than 1 whole. So some of these are going to be bigger than 1. Could be bigger than 2. You can have fractions there? Yeah, you can. Okay? So let's jump into that. We've already done this, so we are ready to go here. Alright, so this says I brought 2 oranges for lunch today. I actually brought 3, but okay. I cut each one into fourths, okay, so that I could eat them easily. You know how you get those little wedges and then you can pull back the peel, you know. Draw a picture on your personal whiteboard to show how I cut my 2 oranges. Okay, well, we're not going to worry about the drawing of that yet, okay? Or should we? Let's wait. Okay. We'll get our whiteboards in a second. But here are my 2 oranges. Okay. And I'm going to cut them. I'm actually not going to cut them right now. We're going to pretend that I'm cutting them. Okay. Alright, so if we cut these into fourths, we would have a blue square. Now that would, to me, that's what it would look like from the top, you know, but then the pieces would be kind of long pieces, wouldn't they? Okay. But on a flat surface, that's kind of how I'm having to show it to you. Okay, so I'm going to cut these into fourths. Okay, I like oranges. Sometimes I will go through more than one of them. So I brought more than one. Okay, so I'm going to lay some orange slices on your desk. Okay, I don't know how many I'm going to put. I'm not going to count them out for everybody. Please, for right now, just leave them alone. All right, remember how the phone pieces I needed to say, please don't bend them up, write on them, put them in your mouth, any of that. Yeah, these are going to be used more than just today, so please don't do any of those nice and lovely things.
Treat them like
Yeah, treat them like you don't want anything to happen to them. Okay. Now, I'm not counting these out, and I'm doing that on purpose because I don't want everybody to have the same exact thing. Okay? Just leave them for now, and I'll tell you what we're going to do with them in just a second. Don't they smell good? Can't you just smell? I mean, they look so juicy. These actually were a little dry. This batch of oranges. But,
That was still good.
What?
Dad said he smells good.
Don't go and ruin mine. No, we're leaving them alone right now.
They're not.
Charlotte. Leaving them alone for this moment.
Yep, they smell good.
Take a while alone to pick them up for you. All right.
Smells like orange.
So now you have some orange slices in front of you. Yeah, I hope it smells really good. Okay. So this is our thinking. Now we're going to use those orange pieces in a second. Okay, we're going to talk about this and just together for a second. Let me get rid of that for now. Now, one orange, okay? One orange. That is going to be considered one whole, okay? And how many pieces have I cut my one orange into? 4, okay? And so I'm showing it right here. So if that's the case, if we cut it into 4 pieces, what is our unit? We want to know what that word means in fractions. Yeah, fourths. Okay, so right now we're working with fourths. This says, what is our unit? It is fourths. How many copies of fourths would be in that then?
4 parts.
4. Because if I'm going to have a whole, I have to have the same number on the top as I do on the bottom. Same numerator, same denominator. Okay, so if I'm going to have one whole, and these are fourths, I'm going to have 4 fourths. Okay, so one whole would be equal to 4 fourths. How many copies of 1/4 are in 2 whole oranges? Okay, now here's the big question today. Because now we're going beyond one whole. Remember our target said that we're going to have fractions greater than 1. Okay, now again, I've cut them both into 4 pieces. Okay, the question is how many copies or how many pieces of 1/4 are there in 2 whole oranges? Now there's 4 here. Now how many are there?
8.
Yeah? Well, how many?
8.
There are not 8/8.
8 parts.
Okay, there are 8/4. Raise your hand. Okay. There are 8/4. Does that sound weird? Okay. What? Wait a minute.
That's too big.
Who said that it was okay to do that?
Yeah, we did say
Because are you allowed to have a larger number on the top than you are on the bottom? I mean, is that a fraction thing? Are we allowed to do that? Because if this is cut into 4ths and this is cut into 4ths, and I go and count them all up,
it's 8.
I'm going to have 8 of them. Do we keep it as 4ths?
Yeah. No, it should
No.
Don't it? How many of you think that 8/4 is correct? Just a few. How many of you don't think that's correct? Okay. How many of you just really aren't sure at this point? A few. Okay. So we have a lot of a big mixture. Okay. Well, I'm going to tell you this is correct, and I do want you to hear this. That yes, you can have a fraction that has a larger numerator than denominator. We're going to see it a whole lot. And when we see that, it has a special name. It's called an improper fraction. Okay. I don't know why it got that name other than I imagine the first few fractions people started working with had a smaller number on the top. And so once these started coming along, that's not proper. It's improper, you know. So this is called an improper fraction.
improper.
Where the top number, the numerator, is larger than the denominator on the bottom. Okay? All right. Now, in our learning of fractions this year, we're going to have a lot of practice turning this into what we call a mixed number. Okay, and I don't really even want to get into that today, but because that's on down the road, but just want you to know that. Okay. I wish I could juggle. This would be a perfect time to,
I can.
Anyway,
I can
so hold on. Sorry, I should not have said that. If one orange is cut like this, and then I have another one, and I cut it the same way, let's count all these fours. Let's just double check. All right, help me out here, guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 8, and they are cut into fourths. So please don't look at this and go, oh, those are 8s now. 8s are smaller, okay? These are fourths. All right. Let's keep going. All right, so I got so hungry that I ate one whole orange. Oh, my picture went away. Hold on. Let me put it back. Here's one whole orange. Here's one whole orange. Okay. Could you, on your board right now, draw the 2 oranges cut, just side by side. Cut them into fourths, because that's what we're working with. Okay. Need 2 of them, just like I've got. Okay, both cut into fourths. Okay. All right, should have them. Okay, guys, it's got to be quick. Okay, this cannot take forever. All right. So now what I want you to do is listen to this. What happens here? I was so hungry that I ate one whole orange and one piece of the next one. Because I thought I was hungry enough to eat both, but I kind of stopped after one of the extra pieces. Okay. So right now, I want you to show that by shading that on your board. If I were to eat one whole one and one piece of the next one. Okay. Now you shade what you think that would look like, then I'll shade mine in just a minute. I'm going to lay down. I don't want anybody seeing that. I want to see them in just a second. All right, again, this is quick. If you're taking your time and then trying to be all perfect, not get it, you're going to have to hurry. Okay. This is quick color. All right, so if I shaded that, this is what it should look like. One whole one. Well, that didn't turn out a pretty orange, did it? Okay. Would be shaded. And then one piece of the next one. Okay. All right. Ate the whole orange over here and one piece of the next one. Okay. Anybody have that? Yeah, a lot of you did. Okay. Now, let's look at what this is as numbers. Okay. What is this right here as a number? Or even as a fraction? Charlotte?
4/4.
This is 4/4. And what did we say it was equal to if we have the same number in the numerator as we do in the denominator? Always. Yeah. This is equal to 1. So I'm going to put that out beside it, okay? Because I don't have a lot of room over here. How much is shaded in this one? Caleb, how much?
1/4.
Just 1/4. Okay? So this is 1/4 right here. So what do we have all together? You know, I have this many fourths here and this many fourths here. What do we have all together? Yeah.
5/4.
We have 5/4. Okay? We have that improper fraction. We also, is there another way to say it? Besides 5/4, can you think, look at that real quick for a second. There actually is another way to say this. you think?
4/5.
No, we don't change our denominator. These are cut into fourths. No, nothing changes that. Yeah?
5/4.
Well, we've got that. There's another way to say it or write it. Yeah.
4/4 plus 1/4.
Okay, you're giving me an equation. We're going to talk about that in just a second, so hold on to that thought. I don't mean a math problem or an equation. Is there, looking up there, can you think of another way to write this?
5/4.
Okay, we've already got 5/4. Is there another way? Okay, let's put our tops on our markers. Okay, and write them down. Yeah.
1 whole, 1/4.
Okay, just leave out the word whole.
1 and 1/4.
1 and 1/4. Have you ever heard somebody talking and maybe they said like, I know we're talking about food right now, so that's the example that's on my brain. I was so hungry last night, I ate 1.5 sandwiches.
1.5 sandwiches.
1.5.
That's
Okay, but have you ever heard somebody say something like that?
Yes.
Like 1.5 something or we don't usually say, I ate 1 1/3 sandwich, or 1 1/4. We don't always talk freely with the thirds and the fourths and the fifths and the sixths, but we seem to say it a lot with half, don't we? They ran a half marathon. Some people run the marathon, which is 26.2 miles, I think. And some people will run half of that, which is 13.1. Okay. We hear the word half in our everyday lives a lot. Okay. Hey, will you half that with me? You were trying really hard to get that little Debbie Christmas tree cake at lunch yesterday. And then Fida said, hey, I will give you 1/2, and I will keep 1/2,
what I was in.
But he didn't. No, he ate the whole thing, and I don't blame him.
No, but I did give Will some.
Oh, did you? All right. That's a hard shape to know exactly what fraction you got. So, all right. Okay. So we're kind of stepping into the world of what fractions might look like if they're larger than 1. Now, these two things, guys, look up here. Need your eyes. Markers are down. They're not in our hands. Okay? These two things are equal to each other. These two things are the same. This is called an improper fraction. This, here's another new term that we need to know, is called a mixed number. Why? Because it's a mixture of a whole number and a fraction. So it's a mixture. It's a mixed number. Okay? Going to hear a lot about those later on. All right. So we have 1 1/4. One more thing I want us to try to do with this, and I think you've got room on your board. Let's try it. Okay. Could we create a number bond with these numbers?
Yes.
Could you?
I
We
have
could.
no idea.
Now, I want you to give that a try before I just throw it up there and we all copy it on our boards. That's not really very helpful sometimes. So I want you to take a second and see if you can come up with a number bond that would go with 5/4. Okay? Don't hold it up or anything. Just give it a try. We saw some number bonds when we first started, remember? We saw them on the board, so think back to those. And remember, whatever you put in the top bubble is the whole. The two bottom bubbles are what go together to make that. These are the two shapes right here that you're making the number bond about. The ones you just shaded on your own board. Okay, if you need to erase the shapes that you shaded to be able to have space, that's fine, because they're still up on the board. Okay. All right, I'll give you a second. Just see what kind of number bond you can come up with for this. For this right here. Okay, for 5/4. So you're going to start with that. That's a number bond. Okay. Remember, what's in the two bottom bubbles has to, that together is going to equal what's in the top one. Y'all remember how those work. Okay. Alright, some of you have this in the top bubble, and I'm going to give you a little guidance. This is what you need to have up here. Okay. Now maybe filling in the bottom bubbles. It's not 4/5, it's 5/4. All right, so these two bubbles are going to equal 5/4, right? Jayla, what have you got in one bubble over here?
4/4.
Yes. She has 4/4 right here. And what do you have in your other bubble?
1/4.
1/4. If I have 4/4 and I put one more fourth with that, am I going to have 5/4? Absolutely. That's 100% correct. Okay. Yeah. What'd you have? What'd you do?
2/4 and 3/4.
Okay. She has a number bond. Okay, don't write this on your board. It has 5/4 at the top. Yes? Still have the 5/4. She separated a little differently. 2/4 and 3/4. Yes? Okay. Now, let me ask you a question. Does that number bond work?
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Does it match the picture? Not really.
No.
If you're trying to make it go right together, but does it work for 5/4? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You definitely could take 3/4 and 2/4, put them together, and you're gonna have 5/4. Yeah. Do you have something else?
I put 1 whole and 1/4.
Okay. I was hoping somebody had done that. Just like Jayla had 4/4 and 1/4, and that's totally correct. You might not have had 4/4. You could have given it its other name. Any fraction that has the same number on the top and the bottom has another name. You might have put 1 over here and then 1/4 over here. It's the same thing because 4/4 is equal to 1. Okay? All right. Go ahead and clear your board off. We're going to practice some more of this. All right. We'll leave that for a second. Okay. So a few minutes ago, I gave you, go ahead and clear your board off, guys. I gave you some orange pieces. And again, like I said before, everybody has a different amount. So if you want to push your board and marker to the side so that you have some space in front of you, please make sure you're being careful with these and not bending them up. But I would like for you to do this. I want you to put them together like this. You might have enough to do 2 holes. You might not. You might have enough just for 1 hole. You might have enough for 1 and then a few extra pieces. But put them together in that formation. Okay? Every time we have 4 of them to complete that shape, we have 1 hole, don't we? Okay. These are sort of similar to our. Go ahead and put these together like with this. I know that they're not all there. But, okay. These are a little different than our foam pieces, aren't they? They're not quite as fluffy. These are flat.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm looking around. I just kind of wanted to see how much I actually had given you because like I was pitching and just handing. Okay. I'm glad that put these together. Put these 3 together almost like this, but I know you're going to be missing something. Okay. All right. We got 2 in the extra. Okay. All right. So everybody got what they were to do. I just want to make sure. Now, some of you have 2 complete oranges. Some of you, like I said, have less. Some of you have more. One of you has more. Okay, so what I want you to do on your board, right beside this, okay, is to write what fraction. I want you to write this numerically. Like, you know that we have fourths. I just want one improper fraction that tells me how many you have. Count them. You know the bottom number. We are dealing in the unit of fourths. So I'm asking you to count all of them. Okay. Okay, these are cut into fourths. One whole and another 4 pieces of fourths. The top number is how many you have. Okay. What unit are we working with? One whole is made up of 4. These are fourths. All of these are fourths. So we know what our denominator is. Okay. All right, so all of you have a little bit different numbers. Some of you have the same at different spots in the room. Okay, so you have created an improper fraction, or should have. An improper fraction, tell me what that is. Yeah.
A fraction that has a bigger number for the numerator.
Yes, where the numerator is larger. What size are our pieces? What unit are we working with? Yeah.
Fourths.
These are fourths. Just because you have 8 of them does not make them eighths. These are fourths. So every one of you should have 4 as your denominator. Your top number, your numerator, is how many pieces you have. Well, I have 6 of them. Yes, that's an improper fraction. Some of you had 6 fourths. Some of you had 7 fourths. Some 8 fourths, where you had 2 complete oranges. Some of you had, what else have I not said? Okay. Now you've got 4 fourths. If you just have this. Okay. But you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 fourths. Because you have 8 of that size piece. Okay. Anybody have something different? How many did you have? 4 fourths. You had 1 complete. Okay, I think I've said the rest of them. Okay. All right. Now, if improper fractions right now is not real solid with you, it's going to be. You just got to give it time for this kind of stuff to. Yeah, we've just got to give it time to kind of sink in and work with it. Okay. All right. Now, what I want you to do with this, keep your fraction, or if you need to erase it, but I want you to keep that fraction that you just wrote needs to be in the top bubble of a number bond. So look at what you just wrote. Put that fraction in it. Everybody's going to be a little different. Okay. That's going to be your top bubble. That fraction you just wrote. Go ahead and do that. And then I want you to put your 2 bubbles underneath and show what you have. Okay. How is your orange pieces separated on your desk? Do you have 4 fourths over here and 2 fourths over here? Do you have? No. How do you have them together? 4 fourths. What will we put in here? go to equal, what do you add something and get that same number?
I have no idea.
I mean, we could do we could do 2 4s and 2 4s, but we're not. This is all together. 4 4s, I guess. Let's see. Okay, you got 4 4s. Plus what? Right? What is over here? What is over here? 2 what? 2 4s. So that's So, I'm not doing this. Okay. So you've got 4 4s. 2 4s. That's what goes in there. Alright, so we're just getting some practice putting things into a number bond. There will be a time, it's on down the road, that we will use number bonds a lot with our fractions. Okay? Alright, but just wanted us to have some practice doing that. Alright, I want you to look up here for a second. Maybe actually this would be a better time to take our break and then we will come back and hear about our problem set. If you would, take your orange slices and put them right here. Pinch together in one finger and I'm coming around and you can drop them in my bag. You can also go ahead and clear off your board after.
I don't want to throw away the oranges.
Just think of it as the orange peel. The part we didn't eat.
Oh,
The orange part.
I like the orange part.
It's actually got
I don't like
it's
orange.
good oil in it. It's the white part that's bitter. I think it's called pith.
Piss.
Pith, P-I-T-H. I think that's right, but I could be wrong. I try to pay attention every now and then. I'm watching like a cooking show.
It's called piss.
I think I have to check
It's in
that.
the orange. Yeah, look it up right now. I don't want
Okie doke.
It sounds like